And, so it's yeah, so that's strange. Yeah, I think that's just here.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah, and the other way is to go to the next time.
CSA ones. It's interesting. I mean, it's, yeah.
Yes, that's.
Mark this putting out, but I am the eight, should I be?
No idea.
I was shocked. I love it.
No, I didn't. You can say that it's short, like that's.
Oh, okay.
What people, I'm right here behind. Yeah. Okay. On the. Yeah.
All right, are we, mics on? Yeah, no. Test, I don't think my mic's on.
Mine is.
Is it, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Right? Can everybody hear me out there? Okay. I'd like to call the Nancock special meeting of June 10th to order. Can I have the roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Figgy,
Present.
Councilmember Grubb, Councilmember Holdren, Councilmember Marino,
Present.
Councilmember Knock,
Here.
and Mayor Foskey.
Present. Thank you. We have a
Okay,
quorum.
quorum.
We do, yeah. Pledge of allegiance.
To the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We need to have somewhat of an agenda item. We are going to have a closed session. Does somebody want to make a motion that we add a closed session at the end of the meeting? Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll announce what the meeting is at the time about. Okay. Everybody signed in for on the speak? Okay. All right. The first item is the public hearing for the Nancock Farmers Market lease. Let me give you the sign up sheet. The lease is in the packet. The town attorney reviewed the lease and said it was fine. No problems. Yes, that will come later on. Okay, public hearing comment. Rosemary Papero, if you have 2.5 minutes, at 2.5 minutes, we'll give you a little 15-minute warning, 15-second warning. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, right. What?
I'm Rosemary.
Yeah, excuse me. I think I did. It's 3. We have 3 minutes. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rosemary Papero. I live in the town of Onancock. About the Queen Street lease, I'd just like to say that a 20-year lease is very unusual. Usually leases are for no more than 10 years. And in this case, it's 20-year with a 5-year renewal. There are certain things in the lease which I think are really pretty untoward and unusual, including that the lessor, which is the town, has to repair any casualty damage to the building, which includes firestorm or if somebody drives a car into it. Or else the town doesn't get its $1 a year rent. The other thing is the placement of the building. It should be perpendicular to Queen Street and not parallel to give Queen Street a little bit more room. People pulling in and out of their driveways a little bit more room, and also provide more parking. Also, importantly, on page 16 of the town manager's schedule, it says the cost for the parking lot is $385,000. But if you go through the numbers on page 19, the asphalt, and this is as per the town manager, is $282,000, stormwater design $27,450, curbs $20,000, street lights, not counting the south side lights, $22,000, and stormwater management $401,000, which brings the total to $752,450, except for the fact that we also have to put in a water generator and Wi-Fi, which the town is obligated to provide under the lease. And I see no reason on earth why the Queen Street parking lot should look like the gardens of Versailles. This is not a rich town. It doesn't have a lot of money. And to sink $752,000 in a parking lot is really, I think it's untoward. I'd also like to point out the overages on the police department
This
renovation.
is just about the lease. You
Okay.
get another shot at another public. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's
You
it.
can sign up to speak at the next, I think you're already signed up on the other one.
Uh,
If not, I'll put you on there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so 752 as opposed to 385, and I'm sure the 752 number will climb to the heavens, and we're probably looking at $1.5 million.
Raquel Perkins? No, you're on the public hearing. Yeah. Raquel, is that Perkins? I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, yeah, come on. You signed up to speak on the public hearing about the lease. Okay, that's all right. That's okay. No problem. Duncan? Okay, all right, thank you. Joe Delaney?
Mayor, I'd like to address the question about Zoom transcription.
Okay, is it working?
For the disabled, so thank you.
Okay, I don't think.
Excuse me, can you bring the mic up? Sure, sorry, council member. So Mayor Foskey and members of the town council, I'm Joe Devaney. I live at 6 Queen. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. Let me begin by sharing the reaction of a longtime Onancock resident whose first encounter with the final lease agreement happened on Monday evening. He said, "Wow, I wish I could lease property for 20 years for $20 and not have to pay to maintain it, and the taxpayer can pay for my business adventures." That's a longtime resident who's making that reaction. Sadly, the resident's reaction is in line with public comments from your last meeting. Those comments highlighted the one-sided nature of this lease and specifically called out the following: the overly excessive duration of the lease, the lack of effective protections for the lessor, the absence of specificity about leasing obligations, including performance reporting and economic impact assessment, the substantially unrestricted indemnification provision, severability provision, or generally the hidden subsidization of private commercial interest with taxpayer funds, including tax revenues from Onancock citizens on fixed incomes. How one-sided could this agreement be? Even its simplest provision fits this characterization. Customary terms in a lease agreement in Virginia related to a leasor's right to inspect the property are 24 to 48 hours. Advance notice. Here, it's 5 days. I would expect that as the town's representatives in these negotiations on the agreement, you are exercising your duty to act in the best interest of the town and its residents, so that prioritization of private interests over public welfare will not emerge under this agreement. Sorry. I would also expect that you have been advised that certain items like rent significantly below fair market value without a clear and discernible public benefit, lease terms that waive or abridge basic municipal rights as far as land holding and oversight are concerned, and unresponsiveness to specific public comments that have been made over the past meetings could become challenges for your project down the road. That is the extent of my comments tonight. Thank you for the opportunity to come in.
Thank you. Donna Mann? I don't know who that is. Is it? Is it?
Now that, it looks like Donna Mann, best I could read it.
Nobody? Okay. Yep, nobody. Paul Wetzel? Okay, Margie Labradale? Pass. Greg Feldhausen? Okay.
Greg Feldhausen, 5 Ames. The first thing I'd like to ask, and this is something I just don't know. Evidently, there's an engineering study that's supposed to be done on the Queen Street parking lot. Has that been done yet? Or is it just a proposal? A proposal. So the cost of that is considerable, 50,000 or so, from what I understand. So that is the basis, I believe, the engineering study would be for the actual cost estimates of doing the work. So the cost estimates, as I understand it at this time, are 400,000 plus, and those are guesstimates, from what I understand. So the engineering studies, as I've seen in the past, generally run far greater than general estimates preoperatively. So I think everybody should be aware of the fact that the cost of that parking lot is going to be excessive.
We're not talking about the lease. Yeah. Yeah.
I realize that, but
Yeah.
it also says right here that none of the stuff connected with placement of the farmer's market building can be completed until that parking lot has been redone.
Right.
So it is connected, in every which way.
Okay.
So I think that it would be smart for the town to actually know what they're getting themselves into. Because I've gone over there and walked that lot, and the whole drainage is a fiasco as far as whether it's coming back towards the buildings along Market Street or running into neighborhood properties. So I think there's a heck of a lot more work to be required than just milling up the asphalt and putting down a new layer. It just seems pretty obvious to me. The second thing is, I walked out there and the biggest limb on the ancient oak tree happens to be hanging directly over where the placement of the farmer's market building is supposed to be. So the liability issue kind of becomes a very significant one, since that's probably the greatest risk to that building at this point. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Oh, Mavis Oswald?
Am I on?
Just hold it close to your, get close.
Sarah usually helps me with this. In all my years of attending or serving on council, I recall only one lawyer ever being fired. Usually they quit, always graciously, usually citing the pursuit of pressing issues and burdens. Maybe they could have used some advice from council on how things are done now. Take leases, for example. A town lawyer needn't burden himself or herself with figuring out what is best for the town and its residents. Just allow the proposed tenant to write it and make sure the rental requirements are at best $1. And if the proposed tenant will be anyone remotely connected to town officials, your perusal of the proposed lease can be limited to assuring all parties that it is a long-term binding agreement with no ramifications. Thank you.
Jim McGowan?
Hi, I'm Jim McGowan. I live on King Street. I just wanted to express my previous support for the farmer's market, the winter market, and the lease. You can certainly make changes to the lease tonight if you need to, but I hope you go forward with it. People have worked on this for a long time, and it's ready to go. As far as stormwater management, the building is going on top of impervious surface. It's not going to make any difference for drainage. Parking lot work can happen apart from the building placement. So again, I just encourage you to approve the lease tonight. Thank you.
So,
Good evening, Priscilla Hart, 21 Market Street. I'll be really quick. This is specifically about the lease, nothing else. Is that right?
yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. I am opposed to a 20-year lease. I am not opposed to the farmer's market being there for 20 years, but I think a 5-year lease at most would be appropriate with the opportunity to renew. A $1 a year lease is bizarre, and we've seen how that has worked in the past, hasn't worked too well, and here we go again. I'm also concerned about the liability. That, of course, falls to the town and all of the maintenance costs. I like the farmer's market. I'm delighted that it is going to remain downtown. Again, the terms of the lease, I think, are a little bit one-sided and could be revised somewhat so that the town has better protection and some flexibility. We don't know if all of the farmers are going to want to be doing this for 20 years. And yes, I know if they don't pay the $1 a year, we can kick them out. But I don't think that's the way we should approach it. Thank you.
Joe Hill. Joe Hill. Thank you. Tony Nelson.
Tony Nelson, 44, I own 44 and 25 Market Street. 44 adjoins the parking lot. I too am very much in favor of the farmer's market, and I'm glad it's going to stay in Onancock. There are some, as has been pointed out, there's some questions about the lease. I was reassured by Mayor and Mrs. Foskey that the lease has been approved by the town council. I don't know that it would need to be approved by the town council. As has been mentioned, leases are generally written by the person leasing the property, and the council representing the market is not in any way connected with the town council. So their interests may be totally different. I have put in a letter to the town council asking if indeed he has approved it. And I intended to bring, and frankly forgot to bring the letter, and I would like the council to not vote on this until we indeed have his assurances that the lease has been approved. I would like to point out that the town council did approve having the market go there. And evidently it has been the intent of Mayor Foskey and his wife since 2023, when we started talking about the parking lot for the farmer's market to go there. As Mrs. Foskey mentioned in her letter to the editor, that since 2023, Joe Hill Studios was actually asked in drawing the parking lot plan to include the farmer's market way in advance, which is indeed, as is the tendency of the mayor and council, to get the cart way ahead of the horse. As you can see from the comments tonight, the parking lot is nowhere near ready to be built. We have liability issues. We have questions about the lease. The town council has approved the building to go behind the tourism building, which is not really a tourism building, it's public restrooms. And they didn't even know that they don't own access to that building, which is owned by the Lilliston building. So there's just so many loose ends, and it is
Time's up. Yeah.
extremely premature. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I appreciate it.
Teresa, here, last.
The Anancock Market Board, the vendors and I are grateful to the Anancock community and the town council for the support you have shown the Anancock Market. The Anancock Market has been operating for 14 years. During this time, we have faced numerous challenges, including a global pandemic. We not only survived, but expanded to serve the community year-round by creating the indoor winter market. When the winter market needed to relocate to a permanent home, you, the town council, approved a site in the Queen Street lot, which we could lease for the purpose of erecting a structure to house the winter market. A project of this magnitude requires a significant amount of planning and investment of capital and manpower. Farming itself is all about long-range planning. For example, a farmer planning to put in blueberry bushes must wait 6 to 8 years before they reach full production, and an additional year or two before the farmer has recouped his investment and begins to realize a profit. Fruit trees can take even longer. We have requested a lease term of 20 years because our farmer vendors, and indeed all our food producers, need to know that they will have an outlet from which to sell their products by the time their investments reach fruition. We and our vendors expect the winter market facility to incentivize other local food producers to expand their production and offer their products to our community. We have undertaken this project with the intention of creating a facility that will serve everyone in the community well into the future. Our governor and the Department of Agriculture are committed to sustaining the economic viability of farms, thus enhancing the quality of life for farmers and communities as a whole. To achieve this goal, the state of Virginia provides grant funding to capital projects that support local food production and sustainable agriculture over the long term. The Anancock Market is fortunate to have received funding from the state and local supporters for the prefabricated building shell. We have the pledged commitment of many volunteers and vendors who will be providing the manpower necessary to finish the interior of the building. The final piece needed to begin this project is your approval of the lease before you. The land lease you are considering tonight encompasses only the piece of land in the Queen Street parking lot upon which the winter market building will be placed. The lease stipulates that the costs of acquiring the building, site preparation for the building, all improvements to the building, and maintenance of the building will be borne by the Anancock Market. The lease also ensures that should the Anancock Market fail to fulfill their obligations outlined in the lease, the town has the power to sever the lease. The Anancock Market is committed to serving this community for the long term. This lease ensures an enduring, amicable relationship
Go ahead. Thank you.
between the town and the Anancock Market, with all leasee responsibilities and leaseor remedies clearly defined. We request that the town council approve the lease as written.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that closes the public hearing. All right. Okay, did everybody else sign up for the public comments as well? There's, if you want to, I'll allow, I think there was some confusion about people were signing up for things. So when it comes to public comment, if you want to raise your hand after the people have signed up, that'd be fine. All right, council action. First action is vote on the farmer's market lease. I think we have representative from the farmer's market. If council has any questions specifically about the lease.
I do.
Okay. Good, that's that discussion, yeah. Well, let's, we want to get a motion on the floor first. Yeah,
Okay, I move that we approve the lease as presented tonight.
Second.
okay. Our discussion now?
Yes. We all support the market. We love the market. In fact, my family and I worked to start a farmer's market in our former residence. So this is not about support for the farmer's market. Teresa, I'll direct my question to you because I was surprised when you said that. Only the piece of land in the Queen Street parking lot upon which the winter market building will be placed. That is all you're asking to lease tonight, not the summer market, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, good. In the past, we put the cart before the horse. We actually were told that we own the land behind the Welcome Center and we didn't. Therefore, we had to move the winter market. I agree with Rosemary Caparo that it makes much more sense, and I was down there today and looked, to move the winter market building from in front of the tree, which will impede traffic, to around to the left side of the tree where the proposed summer market is going to be placed. I would ask that you consider that. My other comment is, as duly elected representatives of the town of Anacostia, representing all of you, I would like to see the approval from the attorney, the email that says, yes, he's had eyes on the lease and he approves it.
He talked to you and said the lease was all right, right? Yeah.
I would like to see an email.
Yeah, he talked to both of us and said that the lease was, yeah.
I would like to see an email from. It will be difficult for me to vote without seeing that email from the attorney to vote for it. The questions. Why at $1 a year rent must the town supply the Wi-Fi?
Joy, if you don't mind, I'm going to stay sitting because my knee. I had a conversation early on with Matt and asked if we could route off of the Welcome Center Wi-Fi, and he said yes. So we've not made assumptions. We, asked about it. They were granted that, and that's why it's there.
Okay, why should the town pay for asphalt, which may be damaged by use by the tenant's use or wear and tear? These are all questions I'd like to ask our attorney because they're in the lease, but I would like to hear your response to it.
Where in the lease are you seeing that you're paying for asphalt?
6B.
Oh, it says leasing. That is only really there. My understanding is that it's only there because we were under the assumption that we would be putting the building there before, as soon as possible, as soon as December. So if something happened to the asphalt that's not covered by the building in the paving of the lot, that it would be the town doing.
Again, that's something the attorney could look at and let us know. Why should the town make any repairs or be in any way liable for the property?
What they're not.
That's number 11.
Right. Again, all you're leasing to us is the land. The town will never repair the building or be responsible for the building at all.
It's an email from the attorney.
I can't read that right this minute, sorry. My next question is, and this is number 12, why should the town repair or restore the property in event of a fire or other damage? Number 12. I'm asking these questions on behalf of the town. I'm also asking, who wrote the lease?
The lease is from the template that was used for the Little League field.
Or the what?
The Little League facility, the field, the land, because it paralleled the request. If you lease them and you have a 40-year lease for $1 a year, that is land only, and they have put hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of improvements in it.
Yes.
And they maintain it.
It's been very successful, yes.
And so that was more the obvious parallel, so we use that template. That's why you should see some of this is familiar.
And then
the last question, and then I have one comment. The indemnification covers all claims against the town. Should cover all claims against the town. In other words, people who are visiting the markets can sue the town. In the case of, all right, let me read the letter from the attorney. She's printing it so you can see it better.
I'm sorry, I'm not clear on what you're asking.
Number 15.
Yes,
This should cover all the claims against the town so that the town cannot be sued.
we are the lessee. The lessor shall not be liable.
Okay.
They've got insurance listed here,
Okay.
what they're covering for
Yes.
medical.
It's my understanding that previous property owners where the market was had a lease with the town. And I understand in that agreement, the market paid property taxes for the owners. And yet now, you know, as somebody said, I want to rent a piece of town property for $1 a year for 20 years. Is there any way that,
The market always paid its own insurance every year. And
did you pay a fee to the
and
property
owners
owner?
of the property, or Fletcher and I,
Uh-huh.
paid the property taxes as a gift to the market.
And the town.
All right, those are all my questions.
I would venture to say, to finish that thought, because you're right. I don't know what arrangement you have with the Little League field. We certainly be receptive to whatever is going on there to go on with us. If property taxes for a 20-foot by 57-foot piece of land can be estimated, we certainly think we can raise the funds for that each year.
And then, of course, the summer market.
The summer market is a special event happening with a special use permit. We don't have access to that more than 5 hours every Saturday. So there was never a lease for that. That operates under an entirely different thing. Thanks, Joy.
Thank you.
Thank you for not making me stand up.
I've got a few comments, if I might. I personally support the availability of fresh food locally that isn't transported long distances. You wind up with better nutrition for your families and reduced cost and reduced environmental impact. It's just good for a lot of reasons. I deeply support the farmers market and am certainly a purchaser there all the time. I think people lose sight of the length of time it takes to develop farms, crops, the investment it takes. It's a huge amount of money to buy equipment. You don't get a 5-year lease on your tractor. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's a long-term expense. And to me, there's no recognition of that in some of the comments, which I find alarming, to say the least. If we don't understand how our food is produced, we're all going to wind up with poor health, which is our current situation. And if we don't support good food, we wind up with poor health. And that's increasingly the case in our society. I also want to say that this is town property. We're charged with deciding the best use of it. You might want to charge people more or less. I see it as for the common good. And if it's $1 a year lease, to me, that's fine. It follows the model that was established by the school, by the Little League field. You could see the improvements that they were able to make over that long period of time that they've had that lease. They've improved that property hugely. The town wouldn't have done it. So I don't understand that objection either. So in short, I support the 20-year lease. I support it as written. I believe that the attorney did approve this lease, and I'm going to vote accordingly. I do have one last comment. We had 8 people speak tonight. 6 are concerned about the lease. And yes, I do understand farmers. I was a partner in a farming operation, 70 acres for 30, 40 years. And she's correct. You know, it is long-term thinking and a lot of work.
But I don't think that is really a factor in what we're talking about here, because we could give a 5-year lease, see how it's going, and happily renew it. So that's all I have to say.
The commenters here tonight don't represent all the people that came to support retaining the market in town.
They did not speak tonight.
Correct, they did not, but I think it's short-sighted to refuse to consider the fact that they did speak at a prior meeting, and there was overwhelming support for keeping it in town. We did lease, we already approved putting it behind that building, and we own that property, contrary to the comments. We do own the property behind the Welcome Center, enough to put a building until the renovations to both our building and the Lilliston building kept it from going there. So these were things that could not have been foreseen when we approved putting it behind that building.
So you're saying we moved it because why?
Because of the air conditioning unit or whatever that's behind our building, as well as something mounted on the wall of the Lilliston building.
I would just like to say,
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were, yeah, go ahead.
we have actually asked many of the people who came before not to speak again today, just not to, create too much
Right.
comment. But would it be possible for those who came tonight in support of the market to be able to stand and be
Because it's
recognized?
really not about support for the market. It's about the lease.
Yes.
If people who support the lease would be able to stand up.
Sure.
Support the lease.
Okay. All right, thank you. Lisa, let's go back to council. You get comments?
My concern with the shorter term and lease is 5 years, if council decide, whoever may be sitting here decides that they don't want the market, they've got to move their brand new building that just got grant funded for our town. Where would they put that? I think that's being short-sighted. I think that it's appropriate. We're modeling it after a current lease already with another organization that put all of their own accessory buildings and structures on there with their own cash flow, and the town was happy to have them do it. I think this is going to turn out to be a more positive experience than some people are thinking at this moment, and I don't want to be short-sighted about the future needs of this town and the future needs of the market that has done so much for our businesses downtown. Especially, and for our residents. That's my 2 cents on that.
Sarah?
I initially had some concerns with the length of the lease, but after learning more about it, I'm in support of the lease as written. I hope it will work and get underway.
Omar?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that I am supportive of the market. If we all remember the first time we started talking about the farmer's market, I said someplace else. And I was informed on why my suggestion wasn't right. Well, it wasn't a good pick, I should say. This $1 a month thing, or $1 a year, geez, my bad. Like I said, we've tried that before. I mean, we see where that got us. You said something about taking the time for the farmers to, most of these farmers are already established, so they're already doing what they're doing, growing, harvesting. I'm a city kid, so I don't know too much about the farming lingo. But I still think that 20 years is just a long time. I did hear some comments about from other people about, somebody said something about the tree branch that's hanging where it is, which was a whole nother issue before. I'm just going to vote the way I think that this is going to go. And like I said, so much has already been done as far as money spent for the building, the drawings, We voted to put it there. I mean, let's just vote.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote?
Councilmember Figgy,
Aye.
Councilmember Holdren,
Aye.
Councilmember Marino,
Staying.
Councilmember Knock,
Aye.
Councilmember Grubb.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion.
Yeah, the motion carries. Thank you. Okay, the next item is in point of vice mayor.
Excuse us, we don't need to disrupt, but we guaranteed everybody they could leave after.
We have a motion to appoint a vice mayor of council.
We have somebody interested.
Anybody want to be vice mayor? Sarah? Okay, the job of vice mayor is,
So that's what I was gonna ask you. What are the duties?
she promised that they didn't have to stay through the whole meeting. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. No. The vice mayor steps in when I'm not available to run the meeting. And the most critical thing is they have to be a second person to sign checks. So you have to be somewhat available if I'm not available. We have a two check signing system. So without further ado, we need a vice mayor, or we need somebody to sign, the second person to sign checks. So I can't make motions, but I'd like, we need somebody.
I think you're irreplaceable, Mavis. I think you have
Yes.
to come back.
All right, let's, somebody's got to step up here. I mean, it's not, I promise you, I will try to be here at every single meeting as long as I'm mayor. I think I missed one meeting. Well, yeah, and that's what, twice a month, and twice a month you come in and sign checks. And most of the time I sign the checks, I'm here. So, you know, it's not like you have to sign every check. One of us has to sign the checks. So, as well as Matt. So let's, without further ado, let's get somebody up, stepping up.
Omar, are you saying you might be interested if you don't have to sign the checks that
No, he's got to sign checks.
Fletcher is here
No.
and can sign the checks?
No.
Yeah, we need to have somebody.
Sarah is more interested in signing checks.
Motion.
So I will move to appoint Sarah with her agreement.
Do we have a second?
As long as Fletcher swears in blood that he'll be here.
Unless I'm hit by a bus, I'll be here.
Second.
Okay, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, Sarah, you're, thank you very much. Okay, we got that done. Process to fill a council vacancy. As you know, we have a vacancy on council. I did, you all talked quite a bit about how we go about this, and I looked through the historical record about how we did this. And since 2002, we have appointed 10 people to council. And all of them since 2010. So between 2002 and 2010, we didn't appoint anybody. So about half of them were appointed as the fourth or fifth vote getter. The other half were appointed that did not run for election. So there's the historical data is sort of 50-50 about you're not buying. I don't think you're bound to either one. Back in the first one, 2011, we had 2 council members resign, and we appointed the number 4 and 5 vote getters to replace them. I think Matt, you were appointed as the 4th vote getter as well. Sarah, you were appointed two months early as 1 month early, and then Brandon Brockmeyer was appointed. But Thelma Gillespie, T. Lee Bird, a couple other those people were not. They were just selected. So council, it's up to council. So just historical. So I need you know, how you want to go about doing this.
Yes, sir.
My feeling is that because the vacancy came 6 months after the election, that's a good bit of time for things to change. And I would feel more comfortable if we were to open for interested parties to submit their names and information for us to interview and consider. And if the people who ran and were not elected in November still want to participate, there's nothing that bars them from that. They're welcome to include themselves in that process. If it were, January, I would, the January right after the November election, I would feel differently, but because we're half a year away from that, that's my sense of it.
Does everybody agree with that? Any problem?
I-
With that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
In the-
go ahead,
In the past, we've asked for resumes.
yeah, that, I was going to get to that. Let's be, first of all, time frame. Give them a couple, can we do this at the next meeting? We have 2 weeks. Is that going to be enough time or you want to have more time? How much, we have 2 weeks for the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
less than.
so let's, so we need a letter of intent and a simple resume, correct? Yeah, from each person that wants to do that. Or do you want to interview them or are we just going to,
Yes.
well, we're not, all right, so then we're going to do that. When are we going to, that's not going to happen at the next meeting then. All right, so we have to set up a time for interviews. That's up to council. Okay, so can you advertise that there's an opening that, give them 2 weeks to submit until the next
Well,
meeting?
the next meeting is actually one day less than 2
Yes.
weeks because
Well,
we're
not,
here on a
we
Tuesday.
can't, if we're going to set up interviews,
Okay.
we have to do that at a separate time or do
We
it.
do that in a meeting.
We could do that before the meeting. Yeah. Okay. So let's, no,
It's too rushed. I think we
we've
should,
never had interviews at the meeting. We've always had them in the closed session in the back. Yeah.
after a meeting.
After a meeting. Yeah. Okay. So let's set up, everybody gets their application in before the next meeting and then we'll do the interviews at the closed session at the meeting. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, Matt, you going to put that up on the website?
So by the 23rd or the 20, what we give them 24?
Well, I think people know about the vacancy. I mean, and I think they know it. I've already
To
had,
see the applications before the night we have to decide. I mean.
yes, yeah. Okay. Let's,
Old, but I need some time.
no, you're
to
right.
think.
So, like the Wednesday before the meeting, that gives them 10 days or something. Yeah, the Friday before the meeting, get your resumes in. A couple people have already expressed interest in doing that. Yeah, people have already contacted me that they might be interested. 2 people did, so,
We can.
yeah.
So you're talking about the 20th.
So we will get the resume, we'll get the applications in by then, and we'll have the meeting, we'll conduct the interviews at the meeting, and then if we want to come out after the interviews, we can vote to whatever council decides. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. All right, next thing is, this is a, kind of an open-ended thing. I asked this for this meeting really for Matt. We have a lot of projects going on and, Matt really did we have a lot of information here. We don't have to get through every single thing tonight, but I think it's great to update people on what's been going on with all these projects and where we are. There's a couple of decisions that we need to look at. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt and he can start talking to us about some of these things.
Okay. It starts on page 10 for those of you with packets. And what I did was, rather than just list those projects that are underway right now, I wanted you to see the projects that we've accomplished and completed over the last 4 years. You can see that that's everything from boat ramps to police generators to water tower panels to, I mean, it's been very, very, very busy and also very productive with taxpayer dollars. So I listed those under completed projects just so everybody could have an idea of what's been going on the last few years. I'm going to start just at the top and work down for those that are in process. I'm going to try to give the people who are making the decision the timeline and the actions that are necessary to complete. So the town square image provided is on page 17 and 18. When I say image provided, that was drawn by, it was drawn by Ray Berger, but on behalf of the tree board. So if you look at page 17, there's a colored rendering of what the tree board may recommend. The reason I say that is because their final conversation about this design is at their next meeting, which isn't until next week. So this drawing may change. That's just the way that goes. But the decision is being made by the tree board for their design.
A question on that. the two drawings, which I didn't look at it online, but in this, it's grayscale on both. The one on page 17 appears to be looking at it in a different direction than the one on 18. The cutout at the east edge of the town square is on the left on page 17 and on the right on page 18. Am I looking at that correctly?
You're right, the gazebo's out in the opposite end.
Okay, that was the lack of orientation took me a minute. That was a little confusing. Thank you.
Bill, do you, you're the tree board, do you want to make a comment about this? Could you come up, please? We can't record you back there. That's the only reason that you don't show up on the recording. Yeah.
Yes, Bill Burnham, Chairman of the Hancock Tree Board. Just a minor correction, the tree board meeting is tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, second Wednesday. So we will be meeting at 6 o'clock here in council chambers to go over the drawing. The drawing, I'm not sure if you guys have a color version of this.
Don't.
Page
Represents,
17 is color.
No, it's black and white.
yeah. That
Sorry, folks.
That drawing represents the feedback that the tree board gave to Ray at the May meeting. And which we talked about, well, the kind of the shade features, which are around the flagpole, two gardens that will be able to feature either art, sculpture, they could be seasonal in nature. The biggest concern that came out of that meeting was the amount of what we call hardscaping, more pavement than we felt was necessary. But we really feel like one of the most important elements is to make a welcoming kind of entryway to the gazebo. And so we will be continually working on that. At this point, there's a lot of hard surface in this drawing, and I think we're going to try and continually try to reduce that. I also want to point out that the main reason for kind of trying to dial in where the gardens are going to go is because the town will be putting in an irrigation system this summer. And so to know where to put the irrigation, even if this isn't the final drawing, knowing where to put the irrigation is important, so we don't have to dig it up again and replace it. So having a concept of where the gardens would be is almost the most important idea right now. And then the 4 lampposts that will be along the walkways, each lamppost along the walkways. The town square is a very, very special place. We don't want to just go in there and be like, well, do whatever we want. So we will take, all of the, we'll be very cautious in our design and recommendation, so we keep it a special place.
Is the meeting open to, obviously it has to be open.
Yeah.
What time is the meeting now?
6 p.m.
Here
tomorrow.
tomorrow, if anybody would like to, if you have any concern, come to the meeting.
Please.
We have a public comment time at the meeting.
Yeah.
If you want to get your input, please come. And then you're going to come back with a final plan to council to approve,
It would be
correct?
great if we could have the meeting, well, we'll have the meeting tomorrow, and if we could come back to you with
That's
something
what I was
on.
gonna ask.
Yeah.
And if you could actually get it up on, so that you can, I don't know what this means. I'm not an architect kind of gal, landscaping. So if you could throw, I would love to see, like, and be able to explain to me what each little. thing is.
So we can do that at the next meeting.
Is Ray's drawing bigger than this or not?
No.
No, it's not?
That's
Okay,
it.
all right. All right, so the meeting's tomorrow night at 6 o'clock right here. If
Yeah.
anybody wants to come, look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'd be glad to have input from you all. Okay,
It would be great.
and thank you very much. Appreciate it. Is the budget, what's the budget for?
Well,
That comes with the entry sign and the town square come to $130,000.
Does that include any benches or tape?
Well, if you look at the red things are pergolas and there are benches underneath.
And the source of this fund?
ARPA.
This is ARPA funds, right?
Yeah.
Correct, yes,
So
okay.
you said 130,000 includes the entry sign and the 10 square from ARPA funds?
Yes,
We have ARPA left.
yes.
Yeah, so my,
All of it was encumbered on time.
Okay, any other questions about the
yes.
town
When you're
square?
doing these, it'd be helpful if you could share like which is coming out of ARPA, which is coming out of CIP, which is just general funds, just so that
Okay.
we get a
Yes.
good idea of where these buckets of money are and
Sure.
and how that's affecting our taxpayers.
Excellent. And thank you, Bill Burnham, and all the members of the tree.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so we're gonna get a report back hopefully at the next meeting for that, okay? Entry sign?
The entry sign is as designed by Hill Studios and on page 21 of your packet. There's been no change to that design. If you've driven by the area, you can start to see that there's activity. The footers are being putting in. But it's a 3-foot wide by 15-foot long sign. The Nancock sign is roughly 12 feet. And then there's an original Turner heron on the top, flying over the top of the Nancock sign.
The hair, what color is the heron gonna be? Black?
The heron's going to be welded, so it has all different colors based on what the metal is.
Yeah, because I was thinking if it's the background is that hedge, and if it's all black, it's gonna disappear into the hedge.
The background is not the hedge. We've moved it forward.
Yeah, but you're
There's
still at
also-
the angle if you see, but it is
And
gonna
there's
be
al-
different. It's
there's
just not
also-
gonna be solid black, the bird.
No,
Yeah, okay, great. Bronze maybe or something, yeah.
Is it a sculpture or a cutout?
it's a sculpture.
It's a 3D sculpture.
Yeah,
Wonderful, okay, all right. Well, okay, and that, the cost in that was 28,000, I think, that's ARPA funding as well, yes. Okay. Any other questions about the entry sign?
Where do you see this one?
It was in the back of this other sheet about,
What page?
It's, here, I'll show you.
I just transferred it forward. Yeah. All right, basketball court.
the basketball court, we're doing most of the work ourselves. So we started grading last week, and weather permitting, we're just going to continue to do that as time allows. We're gonna once we get the 57 and the crusher run underneath tamped, then we'll contract a paver. That paver has not given us a quote yet, but we've got $8,900 left from ARPA for the basketball court.
And if we overrun, we're just gonna have to take it out of reserves, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And you're just gonna pick out the basketball. I don't think anybody has any problem with you picking out the basketball equipment and stuff, yeah.
No, I'm picking it from School Source,
Okay.
which is a group purchasing organization that purchases equipment for schools. So it's already negotiated as low bid.
This is Sourcewell.
Sourcewell.
Okay.
And any questions about the basketball court?
A estimated time on where this might be completed?
The issue that we've got is the guys chipping and reading meters. So they get their month broken up in half, but this is their only project they're working on right now, other than those two things. So they'll be able to move along pretty quickly.
So maybe.
I would say probably 6 weeks is a better number.
All right, because I've been asked.
Yeah.
No, I don't plan, I know, I've been asked as well.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Any other questions about the basketball court?
I didn't hear the date. I'm sorry.
For 6 weeks.
Probably
6 weeks, hopefully.
6 weeks, it'll
That's
be
what I'm hoping.
ready to play. Great.
Yeah.
Also, I got one more question, about that area.
That area meaning in Northeast Park?
The basketball court.
Okay.
Oh God, what's the word? Picnic benches. Any picnic benches or
There are 2 down there now.
I didn't see them. The old ones, the old wooden ones, no?
Well, none of them are old.
Okay, I'm just
No, we had a community project where woodworkers throughout the community made a dozen picnic benches. 2 of them went to the Northeast Park, 2 of them went to the kayak landing, 2 of them went to Town
Okay.
Square. So everybody was treated perfectly.
Yeah, coming, but I'm just saying, when I drove by there last week, like I said, I haven't been back in a while. And I just kind of just drove through the parking lot. I saw the court was being dug up.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the benches, any benches.
And the benches are in the back. Sometimes the boys are using it to jump off to dunk.
Okay, okay, I got you. I got you. All right. Just asking.
Okay, any other questions about the basketball court? Okay, Sunset
Glad
Park.
to see that moving.
Yeah, Sunset
So-
Park.
Sunset Park is generally speaking done, except for a couple of things. One is we have to get the bollards in so that cars don't drive up on the cement. The waterfront committee, I'm going to say, made the decision to use sort of a nautical rope around the bollard to make it look more nautical. So we've got to get those 5 bollards in place. We're also, the paver that's coming tomorrow is patching. I don't know if you remember the water leak we had in that parking lot last winter. But he's coming and patching that. When he does that, I'm going to get a quote for him to seal and stripe that lot so it's 90 degrees. Because what's happening is people are parking the way they always did at an angle, and they're losing one spot that they shouldn't need to lose. So if I can get that painted and sealed, then that's going to help.
Any questions about Sunset? What?
What about the pavers that have been cracked around the compass rose? Will those be replaced?
They're
Repaired?
not pavers.
Whatever they are.
Well, it's
They're-
cement. So the cement cracked.
Oh, so that's just gonna stay like that?
That's what it's gonna look like.
What's the time frame on the bollards?
That part we've got, I was trying to decide whether or not we were gonna put if you think about the bollards with the little lights on the top to help illuminate some of that. And I've been looking for those round bollards where we could wrap it in rope, but have a little light at the top so that people can see where they're backing and driving.
Do you have power out there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They run electric to the flips, right?
but they're out in the parking lot where the bollards are. How are you going to get power there?
Well, I would go through the asphalt.
Oh, you
before.
have to cut. Okay, all right. Okay. No, that sounds like, okay.
I have one question. When you said you'd like to seal and stripe the parking for 90 degrees, this is in addition to
Yes,
the cost? So is this be coming out of our general funds or?
this would be coming out of an ask from me once I get a quote.
Okay,
I
but you
don't
just
know
don't
where
know
the
what it is.
monies are gonna
Okay.
come from.
All right, thank you.
Are we in a
So-
budget on the Sunset Park,
Oh, absolutely, right to the dollar.
which is how much?
Off the top of my head, I don't remember. It was in the 51 range, but
40,000. Just thinking for something.
Well, we interrupted you about the bollards. Do you have any time frame?
no, not right now.
I have a question about the bollards and the rope. Presuming that there will be gaps between the ropes so that people, especially with mobility devices, can get past them and out into the area.
I don't think the ropes are going to go from bollard to
We're
bollard.
not gonna string from bollard to
Oh,
bollard.
okay. They're
They're
just gonna
gonna
be-
wrap around each bollard so it looks. that-
Okay, I was
so-
picturing something different.
No,
Thank you for
No,
clarifying.
and thank you for asking.
Any other questions about that? 3-hour parking signs, I think that's,
3-hour parking signs are here. We're gonna be mounting them. Basically at the telephone pole outside Priscilla's house, at the corner of College Avenue and Market, at the corner of King and North, and then at the corner of North and Market. And they say 3-hour parking this side of the street. the reason it's taking so long is because we didn't have the tools to dig holes into the sidewalk to put the pole in. So VDOT gave us a solution where it's a flat plate where they'll get an anchor drill and anchor drill the sign in. It has to be 7 feet up, so it's going to be a tall sign, but that's what's coming. The poles are here, the plates are not. As soon as they get here, that's not the biggest project in the world. So it's drilling 8 holes in cement and lag bolting them in, so.
So they will all go on their own new poles? There's not anything that can be piggybacked on an existing poles?
No, because downtown's got the Cobra head light fixtures, so we can't mount anything on those. Plus, we're gonna be replacing them anyway.
Okay.
So that's why we ended up with those 2 signs that just had no home. So that's why we had to come up with something.
I got a question. Who's going to be the keeper of the time for this 3 hours?
The police are responsible for monitoring that.
That's an excellent question, because we can make all the
Yeah.
laws we want until they're enforced. They're really
Right, so
not.
is there gonna be, I don't expect to be putting, what they call meters or nothing there, but I'm just wondering.
Right.
Is it will, you've been parking free, oh no, I just got here an hour ago, just wondering.
Yeah.
I think 90% of the problem is the business, people that work in the businesses are the ones that are abusing it. So they get a ticket, I think they'll get the message. We're not trying to nail people from tourists because they're not here that long. It's mostly going to be, people that, there's some business people that park right in front of their business.
Some of the business people that I have, dealt with downtown, they complaining about cars parking in front of their businesses. Some of the cars might have been there, maybe an hour. Who knows? I'm just saying, I've heard that, oh, you've been parking all day.
Yeah. And
how they've been, and sometimes a lot of the times it's the people that work at the businesses who park right in front of the business. So.
Yeah, I think we'll try. It's all we can try. Yeah. We had parking meters for a while, and then we had signs for a while, and they were, and then we took the signs down maybe 10 years ago, and they're going back up. So we'll see what happens. All right.
I think enforcement will be difficult.
Yeah. But
I think enforcement.
hopefully 80% of the people are honest and won't abuse it.
I have a question about how many of these 3-hour parking signs we're planning to put up?
4.
2 on each side, or?
No, there's basically 1 at each end on Market Street where there are marked parking spaces. And then on North Street, where there are marked parking spaces, basically in front of the Charlotte.
Right.
If we needed to add more later, we could, but I thought less is more right now.
Have you thought of maybe, what do they call this, the spray stencil on the sidewalks, just a cheaper way?
Well, the stenciling, as far as you can, in the old days, you could mark the tire with chalk. And that signified what time it was, but.
No, I mean, to list the 3-hour parking.
Well, stenciling's not cheaper because I have to pay somebody to sit on their butt and paint stencils for a living. So the signs are going to be easier, and if the program doesn't work, which it will, because one of the things that we're also trying to protect against is people who live upstairs parking all weekend in front of the stores. At 3 o'clock in the morning, that's an easy ticket to write.
Right, I got you.
Yeah.
Wayfinding?
Wayfinding. Wayfinding has gone through a couple of iterations. The first, on page 25, the writing that's in black was the result of the second
Sorry to
meeting.
interrupt.
Please.
We don't have the color again.
Oh, okay, well, there's numbered. It says number 1 just after the flagpole, number 2 before boundary. Those were the result of the meetings that of the committee of, I'm going to say 8. I don't remember how many were there. And so the location and what was said, then in the comments section underneath, that's where VDOT came back and gave us their feedback on what would work, what wouldn't work. You know, for example, you're not allowed to put restrooms on wayfinding signs. Well, who knew?
That's the sign that you need the most of,
Right.
but never
So-
mind.
But so it can't, it's supposed, the nature of a wayfinding sign is it's supposed to direct you toward the historic nature of the town. So putting things like police department, DMV, restrooms, that won't happen. So that's his feedback was incredibly helpful, getting this called down. And I'm not going to take your thunder, Cindy. Cindy generated a list of alternate options.
And I had submitted many of these comments, I believe it was February of 2024 when we started. It wasn't this February, I don't think. I think it was the previous February. I submitted most of these thoughts at that time, although of course I didn't know the VDOT concerns. My main concern is that 9 is too many signs for a small town. And if we're adding parking signs, it's just going to be a forest of poles coming down the street, which I don't think is desirable. And I think given the VDOT concerns, we can condense them. I don't think we should have 2 signs within a block. We can do with fewer words. And so I've come up with this suggestion, which I believe all of you have copies of. So perhaps you can look at it and either comment now or
I'm
later.
a little confused about the thing you put out. So you're recommending the 3 here, or that all the comments are what?
The comments are VDOT comments.
Okay, so what's the final you don't have a final recommendation basically
Yes,
yet?
sir.
Okay, all right.
We have a committee that created the where and what it says.
Okay.
You've got the VDOT that gave the comments, and I didn't make any.
Okay, so this is a process still going on. Okay.
Right.
All right. So the 3 things up here are not the final, just your recommendations,
No.
each. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
I would very much like to make this decision since we've been talking about it more than a year now. I mean, to me, this is not a complex issue. It's just a decision. So if anyone has comments, I think we should make them and plan on deciding soon.
I have one comment. I know we mentioned the historic and Hancock School, but is that how they want to be designated?
That might be a misnaming as it's
It-
not on the historical register.
It
We'll
is,
check into that.
well, it can still be called historic, even if it's not on the Register of Historic Places, I would think.
Maybe.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, Matt, there's a limit on the number of letters
Yeah, there's a.
for each entry.
It's
and-
not so much the number of letters, it's the size of the font and the length of the width of the sign. So if you imagine, I'm just going to pick on College Avenue right now because this historic Hancock School would be very wide, which would require 2 poles to hold the sign up. 2 poles in that little narrow bit of grass between the sidewalk and the street is going to cause challenges. So that's just one of those logistic things that we're going to have to learn our way through.
can I make a suggestion that can the committee get together between now and the next week or 2 with your comments, and anybody else that wants to be at the committee meeting, it's an open meeting, come up with a recommendation for council at the next meeting, a specific recommendation. Is that okay with everybody? Because we're in the weeds here. Yeah. Yeah.
Cindy,
Yeah.
let's cut down on the numbers.
Yeah.
The first comment I received as a council member 7 years ago was, man, an Hancock has a lot of science.
Yeah. Well, please come to,
Yes, we do.
well, please come to the meeting. Yeah, please. Yeah, because I haven't really been, I think you guys have done a good job, but I think it's too much at a council meeting to decide this. Is everybody in agreement with that? And anybody wants to show up, or if you can't show up, do like Cindy did, write some, and we'll come up with a consensus, and we'll give us a template at the next council meeting, what you recommend, and then we can vote, to go with that. Okay? Yeah, well, that maybe we're fine, yeah. Okay. All right,
Sarah, you were.
I'm sorry? Oh, yeah, oh, we can't have non-public meeting. We'll put it on the website. We're not gonna put it in the paper or anything, but put it in the website, yeah. Yeah, yeah, we can't have secret meetings, so all our meetings are open to the public, yeah. Yeah, except for, personnel closed session thing, yeah.
Could you actually send us an email though when y'all schedule your meeting? Because since the calendar's not on the front page of the website anymore, I don't even think to go look at it.
All right, where we were on water meters.
Actually, that's a project that's starting to inch forward. I'm excited to say the setters, which is the thing the meter sits on, and the boxes are being shipped right now to the company who's doing the installation. They're expecting mid to end of next month to have the shipment of all 800 meters. So at that point, what's going to end up happening is this is my dream. It's not the dream of the people at HRSD who are doing the billing, but as one meter goes in, it goes live in their billing system. As the next meter goes in, it goes live in their billing system. That way we can give one final bill from our system and then stack that off to the side. They want us to bill average during the course of the project, which, that can be difficult for people who live here seasonally. It can be difficult for people who, live life cyclically. I mean, there's just all kinds of reasons. Plus, it's inaccurate. So anyway, that's what they're looking for right now. That conversation is a long way from being done. So we'll come up with something.
How adamant is their want to have it that way? How open are they to doing the move gradually?
They're discussing right now how they can make it happen. They're not overly successful in that conversation just yet, but these are good people and they want to help. They're a great company to work with. So I'm convinced that they'll come up with a solution that won't cripple this office. Because doing the averaging would be oof.
Now, are these water meters for the houses?
Yes, well, they're for every water meter.
I know, but saying, are they going to? Is this? All right, here's my thing. There's a house that I go to on Kerr Street. I can't think of the number right now. I'm the mailman. The lid on one of the covers the lid is cracked. It's broken in, and
those are being replaced.
And it's like okay, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's going to be, they're going to be in the same place,
Yeah,
but different.
We've gone through all of town and looked at which ones need to be weight bearing because it's in a driveway and somebody pulls a car over the top of it.
Yeah, 'cause the
We've
one that I'm
done,
talking about is
some of them are round, some of them are oblong. We've gone through all of those iterations. They're all mapped out in our GIS system. So we're ready for this project to be done and done well. At the same time,
Can't turn my own phone off.
at the same time that we're doing the meter replacement, we're also doing the lead and copper inventory that we were required to do. So all of those things are going to happen and take place at once.
Tell us a little more about the lead and copper. That's the first we've heard
The
about.
federal government has required every municipality to do an inventory of any pipe that may have lead in it. So what we would be doing is when we dig up the meter, we can see and it's from the meter to the house. The town doesn't have any lead. But from the meter to the house, we don't know what's under there. When we take the meter out, we'll be able to tell, if that's galvanized and it's galvanized soldered. If that's the case, then there may be lead in that house. Check. That's what we'll be doing, and we'll be able to do it at 100%, which no other community in Virginia has done.
Nice,
So,
very nice. Well, good. And
Another,
also,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Joy.
I read today in the VML magazine that as a result of Richmond's water problems where the legislature was using porta potties, it is now law, legislature never lets a chance to make a law go by, that if we, as town, municipality, city, whomever has a water problem, it must be reported to the state within 2 hours.
within 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I wanted to follow up on Omar's question. I know some of the water meter covers sometimes float up or get dislodged. Will the new ones be of a manner that will stay closed up better?
Well, they're gonna fit the setter box better because they're custom made for it. They're also made out of a polymer rather than a steel, so they'll have a little bit of give to it. They're all gonna have little bumps on the top of them that look like, I don't know, little pimples. And those little pimples are what communicate with our cell tower. So we get 24/7 reading of all of our meters all over town. That's a huge benefit for anybody that might have a leak. It goes down to 1/10 of a gallon per hour. Now, if you can imagine how little that is, but it'll notify us that there's a leak that small at somebody's house, and we can go up and tell them that. Rather than having these catastrophic bills because somebody lost, we have, cellular technology where if it goes more than 20% more than the previous hour, there's a good chance that a pipe burst. And we'll be able to tell right like that. So this is a huge project and massive benefit to taxpayers.
HRS billing, I said that's the same thing. We just, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I had understood early on that we were going to get 2 bills, one from HRSD and one from the town.
No, they're doing all of our billing for us. It's going to be on 8.5, 11 pieces of paper. It's going to look a lot like a next bill.
Okay.
Oh, that's good news.
And the garbage will be on there, the
Virginia Department of Health fee.
the BDH fee.
So all the bills are not.
As soon as.
No. See? That's right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That little car is
That's a pain in the neck. They blow everywhere, they get stuck everywhere.
Especially during the winter time, we got gloves.
I found them out in my yard, Yeah. All right.
New meters also read a lot more accurately. So if you've got an old meter, you might see a slight change in your water bill.
Maybe a good one. Street
Plus the
lights.
fact that it'll be once a month instead of every other month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is going to be once a month. Yes, monthly billing. Okay. I should have mentioned that. Streetlights. We have the 4 streetlights that we purchased for Town Square. I don't have the poles, but I have the streetlights themselves and all the fixtures. Queen Street is going to have the Cobra head replaced with these new streetlights as well. These are all dark sky compliant. They're all downward facing. They're all under 50 lumens. So anybody that's worried about, turning Queen Street into a car lot doesn't need to worry about that because it's one-way glass. When it faces a structure, it's one-way glass that points directly down. So these are very thoughtful fixtures. So the first 4 that we're gonna put in, Bill mentioned it quickly. We need to get basically the irrigation system in to Town Square. Once it's all dug up, then we can run the electrical for the poles. We can set them temporarily until we make sure that the lumens that we were promised and the photometric showed shine where we need them to shine. Like we need a little bit of light on the front steps of the gazebo, right? But you know, the opposite side of the park, we don't need to have it straight down on top of the flagpole. So we'll be able to space those out and then make it exactly even so that my OCD doesn't bother. So that's the 4 fixtures there. Those are the first you're going to see. And then after those go in, then we're rehabilitating the grass in Town Square because right now it's just weeds and terrible and awful. So that'll go in. Once we get the grass done, the irrigation done, the light fixtures done, that's when we're going to be starting on the plan that Tree Board put together. Okay. Okay.
Crosswalks.
Crosswalks. Man.
I'm sorry, I've got one other lighting question.
Sure.
In the report from Hill Studios, one of the conceptual drawings that they had done showed the streetlights as being very, very dim on Market Street, where you would kind of have a little cluster of light right under a fixture, and then you would walk in the dark until you got to the next one. And I just want to reemphasize that they seem to be the only ones who thought that was a good idea. Everybody else wanted to be able not to have it full daylight, but to be able to see well enough to have safety walking on the street.
So if you go into my office, I've got one of the sample fixtures, you'll see a sticker on the top that says street side. It's created so that on the street side, it pushes more light down, but it still puts splashes light down on the sidewalk without blinding the store.
Okay.
So these are.
Do we have a plan where the fixtures are going yet, or that's still up in the air?
Well,
Downtown.
Downtown, they're gonna go right where the current Cobra heads are. Anything that's got underground power is where we're gonna place them on paper. And then we're gonna find out where the spacing is, and we'll get a photometric analysis done of where they need to be placed in order to spread the light the way that we need it. So that's when A&M gets involved, because right now I can pop a fixture up, put another fixture down, and everything's right with the world. But if these produce much less light than the Cobra heads do, and those are too far apart, we're going to have to put maybe one in between.
Okay, so we can put more down. I don't know if you've ever been to Berlin, downtown Berlin. They've got a lot of streetlights. I mean, it's huge numbers. They're very close together, and it's kind of impressive at night. But it's just a downtown business street. It's not the,
Right.
Yeah. But if we just replace what we have, I don't think it's going to be enough light. If you just,
I agree with you, but
yeah.
that's where we're
We'll do that
talking with
first.
A&M. Yes, we'll
So
do
we can
that
add
first.
lights in. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
That's my question. Okay. Thank you.
And that was my-
Can I respond to Sarah's comment about the Hill Studio? The reason that they did those and I was in the focus group for lighting, the group that walked around town, and that was the suggestion of the residents, that it be dim pools of light. They didn't want it overlit. So they took it directly from the group of citizens that wanted that. Just FYI.
The lighting plan that they ended up with as a result mirrored that but what they did was they put different types of lighting fixtures in different parts of town. We need more light on Market Street than we need on Ames. And the one on Ames would be, the lumens would be contour based, so you can see where you're walking and where your feet are. But on Market Street, you would obviously have more lighting.
Yeah.
Same fixture, different purpose.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, crosswalks again.
Crosswalks, we just finished we had the Ready, Set, Go grant. And this has gone through so many iterations at this point. I'll run through them really quickly. One was that we got the engineering drawings given to us for attaching the sidewalk on King Street to the sidewalk on Market Street in front of Sarah's house. And that price tag came back prohibitively expensive. There's a 20% match on these numbers, and the 20% would have cost us $750,000, just the 20%. The other project was crosswalks. Well, what they did when they heard crosswalks was they put a road diet in out by Hill Street. They put new parking spaces out by Maurice. They added so much more than what we wanted. And that one also came in at a couple $1 million. So I got on the phone with him one last time and said, look, we want 8 crosswalks. That's it. Just 8 crosswalks. We went on here, 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 and here. You know, you already went through and did the ADA curb cuts back in 2021. You know, this shouldn't be that hard. Well, okay. It's been submitted for, it went from pre-submittal to submittal review, which means the application's been completely done to their satisfaction to where they can go to committee about it. So that I'll tell you. What's going to come back as far as how much a crosswalk costs, I don't have any idea. So that's still a complete unknown. Queen Street. You want to this one?
Yeah, I don't think we have been, yeah, we need to, there's a lot of, we need engineering studies and stuff for.
Who is,
Well,
sorry,
sort of a joke. Let me run through this real
sorry,
quick.
Matt,
Yeah.
before you move to Queen Street, is there anything that we need to talk about of the worst streets in Anacog or Hill Street, King Street at the turn and Holly and Joins?
Those are VDOT and what, oh yeah, what I tried to say there was those are horrible streets. People have been hurt badly. And I've talked with Chris Isdell and he concurs completely that the design of those 2 streets especially are awful. They have terminology at VDOT where they say that that would be a project, where like what we're doing with the crosswalks is called TAP, which is Transportation Alternatives Program, and that's the cost share. A project means VDOT takes it on and does the project.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do is to lobby for them to, first of all, get Joins and Holly to the point where there's not 18-inch curbs that people are falling off of. I mean, that they're just terrible. They're just awful. And then King Street around that bend is awful.
Mhm.
And they VDOT did not require Cheney to put a commercial entrance at that entryway. And I think that was a big mistake. I know they did the traffic count, and I know that Onancoc's never going to hit a traffic count ever in its day. So, but for us, 50 trucks going up and down that street a day is a lot, and it's tearing up that road badly. So I'm trying to get VDOT to recognize that this is actually your street. And, you know, they have a terminology they use where it says that it delaminated, which means like the top layer of tar and chip came off. And then they'll go back and relaminate, which just makes a mess. So I'd like to start more intentionally getting those two projects on VDOT's roadmap. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it, you know, letter writing and all of that kind of thing would be a place to start. Let me go back to Queen Street, because Queen Street, the $6 per square foot milling is actually a verbal quote. So there's 47,000 square feet, give or take, from the theater all the way to Ames and everything in between has about 47,000, which is where the 282,000 came from. So that's milling and asphalt. Side note, you know, we need to do it before the building gets dropped on the parking lot. After we do the milling, we have to look at the storm system, because we're disturbing more than 10,000 square feet. We're required to put a storm system in there. Not all storm systems are the same thing. They're not the way they used to be. There's methods where you can manage sheet runoff. There's methods where you can manage, you know, channel runoff. All of those things are possible. So it doesn't just mean that we're going to throw more grates in the parking lot. There are really innovative ways that we can take care of this. And it's also not as expensive as putting grates and underground piping in. So I did put 50,000 in there for stormwater. The reason I put 50,000 in there for stormwater is because that's what the budget was. We have $400,000 basically for this project. So if that stormwater comes in at 900,000, this is a vastly different conversation. But if it comes in at, you know, 58, much easier conversation. So those numbers at Queen Street are actually fairly reasonable.
The sentence that says must be done before the OMF building is placed. So you're saying we have to do all this before the winter market can open?
Well, unless you want to move the building again.
And when has the building been purchased?
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
Lisa?
No, I think they were waiting to get final approval, and then they're gonna go make sure their grants are secured and go purchase.
And
But they've already spec'd them out. I mean, they've been up there to see.
I mean, the other thing we could do is just split that part out and mill and pave underneath where the building goes, and then just drop the building there and do the rest project around it. I mean, there's a lot of easier ways to do this, but I just wanted it noted, that's all.
Are they planning on being there this winter?
Well, I think Janet just said that the plan was to have it ready to like be here in December. I think that's what she just said.
I've got a question about the design engineering services, and Matt, and
Yeah.
I know you know this, but I'd like to hear from the other council members about the renderings. Matt took out the renderings to reduce the cost of that contract.
It's page 28 for those.
Page 28, and you'll see the delete marks on each side. It seems to me that when we have these discussions, we always say, you know, we can't picture what this is going to look like. And so I'd like to add back in one of those renderings, but obviously I'm just one person. What's the will of the council?
Who would be doing that?
DBF.
Some
So, well, I mean, it's 40, you're talking about the 43,000 thing or what?
40,160.
Additional. I mean, if we're looking, I mean, that seems like,
What's this on page 9? Is that not it?
That's the no, that's just the market showing where the building's gonna be.
This is not the design for Queen Street.
no, nothing.
No,
And I'm
So
just
we
talking
do
about the
not-
contract for the design.
I
Page
understand.
28, yeah.
Page 28.
So we do not have a rendering of the design for the.
When you look at this page, there are 3 lines that were deleted. See those marks next to them? That's the delete mark. I'm asking if you would like one of the renderings or the sketch plan put back in.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
one?
What will be the most impactful? Is it the site rendering?
I would guess, because that's at the end. I don't know.
Once it's at the end, you already know what it looks like.
In the design?
Yeah, I guess I'm not a fan of renderings just because I can read the plans.
Yeah.
What about
And
sketch
not
plan?
everybody
So that-
can.
I know, so that's why I'm saying, I deleted that to value engineer this project from 40,000 to 27,000.
Well, I guess we don't really know what a site plan is. So what a site plan is,
Site plan is it shows topography, it shows your grade, it shows your parking, it shows your curbs, it shows your storm management. I mean,
It's a-
it's your
it's a-
entire site plan.
so what is a site plan rendering? What's the
That-
difference?
That's what I'm saying is he's gonna do the stormwater management plan. That's the crux of what we asked him to do because we have to, because of the amount of land that we're disturbing. He added these other items in here.
I'm not sure what they are. I mean, I know what a site plan is, but what's a site plan rendering? Is that a 3D
And
picture?
opposed to a sketch plan, what's the difference?
Well, the sketch plan is literally what you would imagine a sketch to be.
Like page 9 that I quoted with the show this.
I'm a little confused about what you want to see.
Just a picture of what it's going to look like?
Yeah.
Well, a picture, but basically,
Versus a plan that none of us can read or understand.
not a site plan.
So
So
then if we add back the site plan renderings, that gives you your landscaping, your curbs, your lights, fixtures.
yeah.
That type of thing.
I guess
Like for the East Street parking.
just it's a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a colored,
Yeah.
it's a coloring book, watercolor of
Yeah.
the
Well, I think that's
renderings.
council sounds like they want to see that. Yeah.
House up.
Yeah. Not it's only, but
Yeah.
I will add back the site plan rendering. Do I have your permission to sign off on the contract for the rest?
You need a motion?
I'm
You
sorry,
need a motion?
I would appreciate one.
How much how much are you asking for?
I'm asking for
31.
40,000, 36,
41, 436, 31, 436.
yeah, 31,460.
60. I so moved.
Second.
Just one,
Discussion?
yeah, a question. I would, rather than for us to try to look at these 3 descriptions of these 3 different kinds of drawings, can we ask Matt to ask the engineers which of these, we want something that's not simply blueprint-ish. Which of these options is likely to give us the most information to envision what's being proposed and add back that one?
Yes, I agree.
How about an amendment to the motion, just saying that we approve the 27,460 plus up to $4,500 for a site rendering?
I accept that amendment.
so we have the stormwater and erosion control I mean, that we have to do that.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big thing. And we have to do we have to have some kind of plan. So that thing we're adding, yeah. So I mean, with stormwater management we got to spend money on that. We know that.
Proving this until we see these drawings, right?
Well, you have to
We've
spend
got
money.
we've got to make the drawings
We
happen.
can see
Yeah.
them.
Unfortunately, you have to spend some money to see the drawings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So do we need to vote?
Oh,
On the amended motion,
Yes.
Can we state the motion, please?
yes. So Cindy made a motion to, what, did you use the 31,460 in your motion?
I did, but I accepted your amendment to say,
27,460
Plus-
plus up
up
to
to
$4,500 for a site rent.
yes. Did that get a second?
Second.
Yes.
Dude,
Second. Second.
Just need a
For a
vote.
total of,
Potential total of
31,760.
Yeah, 760.
No, actually
860.
31,960. Yeah, with 4,500, with an additional
Yeah, that's
5,000.
I don't mean,
You know what I'm.
I don't mean to throw a monkey wrench in it, but we didn't have this on the agenda as a council action. Yeah. Huh? Well, the lease was a council action, it clearly said council action vote on farmer's market lease. But this one doesn't say anything about that.
so
I mean, I'm just pointing that out. If you want to do it,
I
I
think
don't,
that's an excellent point.
I don't
we
think-
should table it until the next meeting.
No, I don't, because.
But it's
as
not
far
on
as-
the agenda.
How many decisions do we make that aren't on the agenda?
well,
This is the first time we've had eyes on this. It's not like this has been out here.
Okay. All right, I see your point. I've already seen it, but
Yeah.
because I was on the committee.
all right, we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting. That's not, they were only talking about 2 weeks. Huh? Yeah. We're talking about 2 weeks, put out, give a chance. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, where are we back now? Queen Street, we went through.
This last little bit, these last few are gonna be quick. We've got for CIP, we have a water generator. The generator that's there is significantly old, but it's working fine right now, so I want to have somebody other than Cat go in and do a real good preventive maintenance and look at it, and find out how much life it's got left in it. And if it looks like it's gonna be fine, then I'll pull the water generator. I may ask for something different, but I'll just leave that as a surprise. The backhoe, that's in the CIP for this year. I put in $90,000, but I talked with the guys and we all believe that we can use a smaller machine. So that would be roughly 50 to 60% of the budgeted number. So I'm just letting you know that backhoe will come in less than the amount budgeted. The water van, that's Victor's vehicle. He's due for a new one and I've spec'd out, and I think it's the last 2 pages of the presentation tonight, what the specs for his van would be. It would look a lot like the silver pickup that we've got with the toolboxes along the side, except we'd have racks up top to allow for pipes to be put up on top. And also one of the safety features I want to put on there is a cone holder so that he always has cones with him, so he can put those out. But that's Chief does vehicle purchasing for us, so he's already reached out to Sheehy, who has a state contract. Interpretive signs are in the CIP, but I have absolutely no plans right now for those at all.
Yeah, I think let's get some of these projects and then we'll put the signs up. Yeah.
Okay. And then same thing with benches, trash can and alley lights. I think those are finishing touches.
Okay.
And I don't think we need to make the decision now for
Okay.
sure.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And this is to be continued at the next meeting, but that was good progress. All right. I'm going to move my mayor's report in front of public comment. I don't really have much to say. We got a couple of events coming up. There's second Friday coming up this Friday, right? Yeah. Hopefully the weather will be good. Yeah. And there's a tour de shores at the town square this weekend, Saturday. So there should be 300 or 400 bike riders in town. So you see them around. Got a couple new businesses that opened in town. That's a positive. So new coffee shop and a couple of things coming. I know there was a lot of I hate to bring this up, but mosquito spraying, I know there's going to be some comments about that. A lot of signs popping up around town. I contacted the entomologist at the, down at the, Virginia Tech. He's a plant guy, didn't know much about mosquitoes, so he gave me the lady in Blacksburg that's a mosquito expert. She was kind of pretty excited about, maybe helping us out by kind of running maybe doing some research on what kind of mosquitoes we have. And I'm going to keep up with her, and she's going to maybe do a trapping program. We need to do some science on this thing because I don't really know, we need to know what kind of mosquitoes we have, how we spray for them, if we need to spray, some mosquitoes don't work spraying. So I'm still working with her, and we might need some volunteers to help out with maybe putting a couple of mosquito traps in their backyard. And then we can, kind of sample it. I don't know whether it's going to happen or not, and I can't promise you, if we get the science back that we're going to, what's going to happen, so we're concerned about it. And I'd like to find out, I think we've been doing this for 50 years, basically with no real data except empirical. And, if you live in town, most people assume when they spray, you don't get bit as much if you live out in the county. So that's my comment about the mosquito. I'm concerned about it. I hear what you're saying, and I'll follow up and see if we can get some data about what we can do to, change anything or not change anything. Okay, public comment. Mary Burnham.
I haven't done this in about 10 years. Hello? I'm Mary Burnham, 46 Kerr Street, and my husband Bill and I own Burnham Guides kayak shop at the wharf for the last 15 years. Came here to update the town on an event we had this past Saturday called Clean the Bay Day. We've been sponsoring it since 2010. We provide free kayaks to people who want to go out and clean up the waterway. And it's part of Chesapeake Bay Foundation's region-wide event. Takes place at more than 200 sites all around the bay. On Saturday, we had 30 volunteers cruise the creek by kayak, canoe, and motorboat. They range in age from 13 to 80. I'm happy to say that every year the take gets a little smaller, but it's still an important community building effort, bringing folks together with the love of our creek in common. I'd like to thank all the volunteers. We had many new faces, new residents, plus many long-timers. Dick Freeman left, but he has been doing it every year for 15 years. He hasn't missed a year. We'd also like to thank Matt Spuck for the 5th year volunteering to pick up the trash afterwards, which is not a glamorous job. So it's easy to pick up the trash, not easy, but it's one thing to pick it up. Somebody has to take it to the dump. And for the first 10 years, we used our own vehicle to do that. One year, Matt said, "Hey, we could do that for you." And he was the first town manager to offer that to us. I'd also like to thank town council, mayor, and all the town staff for the time and effort you put in every day for our town, and for recent completed projects like the dog park, the new street signs, the public restrooms, just to name a few, and the many, many projects you have on your plates right now. I'd really like to thank each of you for your time and effort. And I've lived here almost 20 years, and I think the town is in great shape moving forward.
Well, thank you for what you do for the Bay thing. Okay. Bob Spoth? Yes. Greg Feldhausen? He left. Thelma Gillespie?
Thelma Gillespie, 4 Watson Street. I've noticed last week on my way downtown to a meeting, I noticed that they had torn up the basketball court in my neighborhood. And I went by again today, and it's still torn up, and the debris is still there. In 11 days, we will be having our 4th annual back to a Nancock Day, and we normally have it in that park. Now, it's gonna be, last year was almost 400 people. And it's gonna be a lot of people. Me personally, I have 15 people coming from New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. 15 people coming. Now, I mean, that park is a mess right now. And I don't know how they're going to they plan to clean it up in 11 days because that's when the event takes place. I'm quite sure that the gentleman who always, one of the sponsors who always take care of getting the permission from the town has already did what he was supposed to do as far as notifying the town. So if you knew that we could not get that basketball court done by the 21st of June, it shouldn't have been torn up because we could have waited for that. Since this was a planned event, well, like I said, our 4th year. So I would hope that somebody could get there and do something. Children gonna be there and everything, and we don't need it to be a safety hazard. So unless someone has come up with another idea for where this event could take place, because now it's too late. People have already made reservations, hotels and everything else to come here. And like I said, in 11 days. And it's all on Facebook. So even people who were not born and raised up in a Nancock or lived in a Nancock, because they went to school with the people that's coming from all over the place, they want to come to see those people who they haven't seen in many years. So like I said, last year was almost 400 people, and hopefully it's going to be even more this year. And so I hope that the town will do something before then. My other concern is that every time I come downtown, I always take a different street off Market Street to go over to Carr Street. And I've noticed that on all of these side streets, there's a sign that says speed limit 25 miles per hour. There's no signs like that in my neighborhood. The people come in and they think they're out on Market Street. I mean, flying. We have children running and playing. Even those signs are not there anymore to say, slow down, children at play. We need those signs in our neighborhood. Yes, 20-some years ago, when I had a problem with people refusing to move their cars so that the mailman could put mail in my box, and I didn't have to come all the way down here to get it because they wouldn't move, the town manager made arrangements and had signs put up on Watson Street on the side that the mailman delivers to say no parking this side of the road. Yes, people park in front of my house. So what? I can get to my mailbox and I can get my mail and I don't have to come all the way downtown. But we do need signs, and you don't need to buy poles. Add the signs to the no parking on this side street. Just add it to that.
All right, would you get up with Matt and we'll talk about the problem with the park? We'll handle that. Yeah.
Actually, Javon has been working with the school, and I think they just signed a contract today.
Oh, okay.
To move it to the
Oh,
school.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
Corey's right here. Okay, so I think your problem sounds like it's solved. Okay.
Hello. Yeah, so I spoke with Javon Smith. He told me about the issues you're having. My name is Corey Kavulich.
He's the new director.
Director at Historical Nancock School. So I spoke today with Javon Smith, and we've been talking for a few days. He's told me about the issues and about the event. And I said, yeah, let's absolutely do it at the school. So we'll be hosting it this year for them. And that is on June 21st.
Thank you so much. Solve that problem. Mavis? Joe Hill? I'm gone. And Rosemary?
Just a little bit more about the playground in the historic Northeast neighborhood. I go up there generally every 10 days, every 2 weeks, just to see what's going on up there. Finally, I was happy to see that the basketball court was torn up and it looked like something's finally getting done. But I really want to talk about the benches, which I understand were built by community effort. And they are dilapidated and dangerous. They're the kind that I'm 75 years old. You got to climb over the bench to sit down. They're a mess. They're going to fall apart. Someone is going to get hurt. And I invite everybody in town, go to the Northeast neighborhood, take a look at those benches, and then take a look at the benches at the school, at the wharf, at anywhere else in town, and you tell me that's okay. That is a smack in the face to people, and we should be embarrassed by it. And I do hope that the town, with all the money they're allocating to other benches, to bollards, to streetlights, can take care of their children and their children's caretakers. Thank you.
Anybody else we missed? Oh, yeah, come on.
Good evening, Mark Sinclair, Greenway Circle, just outside of town. 2 weeks ago when we had a meeting here, and you all were talking about setting up the agenda for this meeting, the primary topic you were talking about at that time was how to fund projects at the school. So I just want to thank you all for kicking that can down the road one more time. In regards to the park in the Northeast, I couldn't agree with you more. It's time for that basketball court to finally be built. I don't understand why every time paving comes up, it seems like it just takes forever to get something done. So let's also throw in over at Hill Street and Liberty Street. Boy, can't we get that little spot paved over there? It's just been a long, long time, and it's long overdue. Now, honestly, what I really am here tonight to talk about, we've now talked about, Nancock Farmers Market as far as the lease, as far as the special use, and we keep referring to a diagram of a parking lot from Hill Studios. And I want to point out that that diagram is wrong. It does not include the other driveway entrance into the Devaney's property. And I'm sorry, it's just one more instance where people say, well, it's Hill Studios and they haven't updated it yet. Well, we should just turn these studies back to Hill Studios and say they're not right. Make them right. If you're going to base everything on that drawing, then you want it to be right. And quite honestly, they should one-way traffic, which is what they want in the movie theater end over there. They want to have one-way traffic coming in and out of there. And I'm not even sure people have agreed to that. I think it's a horrible idea to have one-way traffic over there, truly. I really do. So you all are basing a lot of decisions on diagrams that aren't right and haven't been approved. And I'd like to see that addressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other town comment? Yes.
Tony Nelson, 44 Market Street. I spoke already, but I would be remiss if I didn't thank the members of the town council, many of whom respond to my phone calls and my endless questions. And I do so appreciate all the work you do. And somebody mentioned the town website. Sometimes they're faster getting things taken off than they are getting things put on. Mr. Grubb doesn't have a phone number there, so we can't reach him. If that could be corrected on the town website, that would be useful. And to what Mr. Sinclair said about the drawings by Hill Studios, one thing I didn't address when I spoke about the lease was that there are two drawings, both that we voted on a 20-year lease. And there are two drawings, and they're not even alike. One shows the road two-way, and one shows one-way. So now we've approved a 20-year lease in a parking lot that we cannot get together in 10 plus years. So we've done it again. We did it tonight. And once again, we had the room filled with a lot of people who were in favor of the lease and came and immediately left when that was voted on. So are they really interested for the benefit of the town, or are they here for special interest? And once again, I thank everybody for their patience, and to all of you for lasting through these very long meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. The Hill Studio drawings are conceptual. We haven't decided on any of traffic direction or that's not been decided. We're well aware of that the Devaney's driveway has been blocked. We made that there's no question that there should be 2 driveways. So we're still waiting on, that's the site plan will have to be approved. So these are, we haven't made a decision about traffic flow. And at that time, we'll take, input. So that they were purely conceptual drawings. All right, no more comment? No town manager report, council members, Lisa, comments?
Most of the stuff I want to talk about is better suited in our regular meeting.
Okay. Joy?
I agree with Mark Sinclair that Hill and Liberty is a danger and should be addressed. Matt, what's the story? No. I'm gonna hold you to it. Rain or shine.
Cindy?
No.
Supposed to be nice tomorrow. Cindy? Good news.
I just want to thank the Burnhams for doing the Clean the Bay Day for so long. My late husband, John, participated in that. And, it's just a great thing for the town and to try to keep things cleaned up. Thank you.
Sarah?
The information that you sent us about the House bill regarding Airbnbs, I see it says things of what we need to do, what we need to know, what we don't need to do, et cetera. Is that something that we would have on an agenda coming up? Okay, thank you. And I was going to ask about the Hill and Liberty repair. I second the yay if that really happens, whenever that really happens.
Omar? Okay, all right. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved. You want me to say it
You
out?
you have to read something.
I move that we enter closed session to discuss real estate matters per 15.2-2907D.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. We will not be conducting, nothing happened. And when we come back, we'll just adjourn. So thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.